Howdy, Ags. Welcome to Aggie Growth Hacks, the podcast sponsored by the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M. And we're dedicated to helping entrepreneurs improve their business, connect with other Aggie entrepreneurs, and support one another. I'm your host, Greg Martin, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2001.
And I'm your co-host, Chris Hunter, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 1998.
Whoop. Well, we got a little story for you, Ags. David Trigg, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2015, is the CEO and founder of HOMR, a company that's creating an entirely new service category and strives to be the Amazon Prime of home ownership. David's passion, tenacity, grit, and attention to being a concierge for all homeowners has laid the foundation for companies that I'm sure all of us are going to be clients of.
So pass it back and listen up to David as he shares some really good bull.
Well, David, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Aggie Growth Hacks. We are excited to learn from you and to hear your story. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your entrepreneur journey. Where did it start? Where are you now?
Yeah, my name's David Trigg. I was a class of 2015 Texas A&M Corps of Cadets member. I was in Challenger 17, and man, I just loved A&M. I was the kind of guy who joined every single organization I could because I got really wrapped up in, the selfless service aspect of what Texas A&M student organizations do, right? There are so many on campus, and they're all student-led and all student-run, and it makes A&M a really unique place in that way. And when you start, having as much fun as I did, doing all these organizations, you learn you love solving complex problems. And so I met all these interesting people, and I was like, hey, reps. How can I get more of these reps? How can I dive in? And ultimately decided to join EY Parthon as a consultant straight out of college. And I solved more complex problems there. And I met more interesting people, and I led really interesting teams that showed me that there was a lot of ways to slice an apple, right? You can peel the skin, you can cut it into cubes or quarters. But at the end of the day, there's always a path with a competent, diverse, interesting team. And that was so much fun. Like I really found my passion for building teams and generating that type of stuff. And as I was going through my consulting journey and doing M&A for large transactions, I started really wondering, what is a hard problem that still exists today that I could go solve? And that's where I landed on, gosh, it's 2023 and homeownership kind of sucks, right? Like you guys own a house, right?
Yep.
You probably have one or two things on the to-do list that just seem to not be able to get done.
220?
Yeah, 220. No. And like that's common for everybody. And so when you find a problem like that, if you're like me, you start getting obsessed on why hasn't it been solved before. And that's what led me to home, right? We wanted to go fix home ownership. And so now we service our clients and do every single service on the planet. We are a full-time concierge for their house to make sure they enjoy their life while we take care of the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's pretty cool. So I want to dig a little bit into that. Like what exactly does that mean? Being a concierge for your house? What does that mean?
It doesn't really exist. And my friends always joke that David is the only person on the planet who would go door to door to sell a product that doesn't actually exist. And it's true. There really isn't a category for it, right? Only an Aggie would make up some service and then say, "Oh, I'm going to go sell it door to door." That is the beginning of a very, very not good Aggie joke, but a Yale leader will tell it and we will all laugh. And the fable was simple. To put it into Aggie speak was, hey, why is there not an Amazon Prime for home ownership? It's actually a pretty easy thing to think about. There's too many use cases. My painter operates differently than my lawn guy. My plumber has different needs than my air conditioning guy. And the remodeler quote is so violently different depending on who you're using. And so there's so many use cases. And so with technology, if you're in technology, you recognize that your user story and your use case is everything. But if you're solving a problem with 2,000 of them, you can almost never get off the ground. It'll never happen. The app you built won't be good enough. You'll waste a bunch of money on technology. And so I have no coding experience. So I went the simple Aggie way of, here's what I'll do. I will just simply have them text me for everything. I'll give them a phone number. And with that phone number, they can text me for everything they need at any time of day, 24/7. What I didn't really know at the time is like when you give somebody that power, they might just use it.
They use
a lot.
it. So that's not what HOMR is today. It's not a text service.
It is what HOMR is today.
Oh, okay.
It remains that way. It remains the heart of HOMR. At first it was just a path to learn. And then what we realized is, why can't we build a technology company that's as easy as simply texting your dad? Like, what's the limit there, right? Technology in theory is meant to accelerate, prioritize, make smarter decisions. But if the greatest super app on the planet is actually just Apple's iPhone text messaging service, then why don't we just use that? And that's where a lot of our perspective was shaped by how users use us. Hey, can I ask you for help? Hey, what do you think of this photo of some leak on my ceiling? Where do I go?
Yeah.
And you get this intimate connection with these customers and clients and local businesses where you would never catch that in a fill out this form as a service request for my maintenance. And so now where we're going is we're keeping this entire aspect of the concierge alive. We're never going to release it because it allows us to serve our users in a really powerful way. And we have
intimate way. Yeah.
Intimate. Intimate's the word we use often, right? And we believe marketplaces, especially digital ones, operate at the speed of trust. So even when I'm not going to fix contractors, right? Contractors have a really hard job. They have faced labor shortages, material shortages, and also different clients at different times, and they may or may not be trained enough to handle. But what I can do is I can fix your experience dealing with contractors, where I can chase them down for the quote they didn't send. I can check in on them to see when they're going to get finished with that project, or I can follow up with them if they're not going to make it. I can get you a backup plumber to serve your need. And so now where we're shifting is keeping that intimacy, all those use cases, but we're building a technology platform, which is a home management app where you can see all the services you're purchasing and see the total digital history of your home. And hey, what should I be doing this time of year? Oh, let me take a look. Do you want to do it? That'd be great. Do you want HOMR to do it? Maybe that's a little bit better.
Yeah, that is such a cool idea. Basically, if I've hired y'all, right, as a service, and by the way, what does this cost?
$9 a month.
That's it. Jeez.
Yeah, it's $9. And the reason is like we want members to be part of a journey of solving an impossible problem. We do not have a perfect service. We are a young company. We own that aspect that until our service is worth more. And many people have told us it's worth way more than $9 a month to them. But like the point of the service is like, hey, can we invite you to do home management, home ownership a different way? So $9 a month, and then we're yours for everything on the planet.
And y'all do all the vendor or whatever relationships and making sure the work gets done?
Absolutely. Yeah. The most interesting thing is the partner. We call them partners. So, right, we use very specific language. I worked at Chick-fil-A in high school. I worked at USAA as an intern, and I took two powerful lessons from these companies. And then I worked at EY. I took three very specific lessons for each. At Chick-fil-A, unrelenting customer service. I would drive 100 sandwiches, 45 minutes if a customer needed it, because that's what needed to get done. And it didn't matter if we didn't make money on the job. It mattered that they had the product in their hand and they loved it. The money will come. Service delivery and that customer service is the most powerful moment for them, the magic. Next thing I learned is I worked at USAA, and every single meeting started with the mission statement. So every single meeting, first PowerPoint slide, the mission statement, an unrelenting dedication to their members. They knew their customer better than anybody. They knew the problems those customers were facing because they were former service members. And so their mission was true to them, and therefore they were able to execute it. It wasn't a fake mission statement. It wasn't made up. It was true to them, so they were best at executing it. And then I came to UI, and I was like, oh, wow, these guys are really, really good at building high-performing teams of a diverse group of people that you would never think should solve a problem together, but they do it. This age, this demographic, this school background, oh, wow, they're actually really good at solving problems because of how many angles they can. And I compiled that customer service and service delivery attitude with this dedication to members, and ultimately fueled by, let's fight into tough problems in a different way. And so we use language like this. All our homeowners are members on our platform. They're members. It's our privilege to serve. If you're not a member and you just need a one-off job, we call you a client. Now, you're not a customer with us. It's more than that. Homeownership should be more. It should be more than transactional. It should be relational. Yep. On the local business side, they've been called a vendor and a subcontractor their entire life. It hasn't improved their performance. All the data says they're more overworked and there's more issues than ever. Their net promoter scores are dropping. We're more frustrated with the tree guy than we've ever been. It's not even his fault. He's got too many trees to cut. Yeah. So we call them partners. We say, hey, we are partners with you. If you serve our members well, which are your customers, then we will help you grow your business. You're thoughtful, pragmatic referrals with people we like because we like you. And the better you do, the more money that comes your way. And the worse you do, we may ask you not to be part of our country club. And that clicks for them. And the standard issues that we always hear is like, David, why don't they go behind your back? Like, why don't they just go direct to customer? I've asked them. I'm like, hey, why don't you this guy's a pretty big job. Like, why don't you just go? He's like, David, why would I ruin this relationship? Because I know if I serve this well, you will serve me well. And that's the way we built the company. Like every home service company, we have huge problems, right? How do you manage appointments? Why is that quote so high? But we get more reps than anybody. We've completed 10,000 services this year.
Wow.
And so across every industry. So the bet that I'm willing to make is over time, I'm going to be able to solve more and more, and I'm going to solve them faster and faster.
So David, how are you using technology? Because I mean, again, I am not a technology guy, but when you first started giving out that phone number, maybe was it you calling and say, I need someone to clean my gutters. So do you pick up the phone and call 5 gutter cleaners?
That's what I did. That's what I did. It was insanity. I had a Google sheet with 25 vendors I thought people would ask for. By the way, totally wrong. They needed different things. But and I walked around the neighborhood saying, I get this locally vetted business of vendors. You pay me $9 a month. I'll take care of your life. And they're like, that seems too good to be true. I think you're gonna have service quality issues. And they're like, me too, but don't worry. When I do,
it's $9. It's $9.
Yeah, but when I do, I'm going to go after them aggressively and just give me the chance to make it right. Because you just have to have that. Like in residential services, you have to understand that it's a construction volume game, and you've got to pivot quick. So I had my own personal number. It was a terrible idea. And I would give it out to people, and then you'd tell me you need something.
Oh, it's your own personal number.
Yeah, I didn't think through this.
Wow.
It is legitimately one of the biggest mistakes I made early on of not kind of recognizing the scale and size of the business nor the growth rate. And so I was like, I'll just get my number out. It's MVP, right? I already had a phone number, so why add an expense to the budget we didn't have? And so I had my own personal number. And I would call these 3 gutter companies, say, hey, customer Matt wants gutter cleaning. He's available Tuesday, Thursday for a quote. They'd say, here's the times available. I go back to Matt, say, Matt, which one do you want? Dave, 2 of the 3 I'm interested in. Quote it. Matt, here are your 2 quotes. Matt goes, Dave, schedule it. I schedule it. I get it done. I collect the payment. I say, Matt, are you 100% satisfied? Well, no, Dave. I really liked him, but he missed this little area. Well, I think I can make the gutter guy come back. And Matt may have a lower chance of making that happen. And the reason is because I have leverage. The gutter guy wants my next 10 houses. So I make that phone call and go, hey, man, you missed that corner of the gutter. He's like, Dave, I mean, come on, man. That's pretty small. I'm like, yeah, I know. You missed that corner.
You're being the jerk. I don't have to be the jerk anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. And once again, it's changing the language. I am not a jerk. I am a partner in the growth of your business.
Ooh, love it.
Right? Yeah. And I am incentivized by you being great. So I can just tell everybody how awesome your gutter company is for our members. So give me more chances to do that so you can make more money.
So let me ask, where is this located? Is this nationwide? Is this where
we are in Dallas, Texas right now. We're in DFW market. We intend to expand in other cities in Texas in 2024.
Okay. Awesome.
So when is College Station? Members who just moved to College Station and they're like, Dave, are you coming down? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, listen, I care about service quality. It won't be great if I just show up for one house down there. Let me enter the market the right way. Let me get to know the network. Let me talk to local business leaders so we know who are the right companies to serve these types of members.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So with all of this, right, and there are challenges that come with starting obvious challenges like the phone number, but what other kind of challenges have you faced on starting HOMR and really starting to grow it?
Well, there's a reason majority home service companies, especially tech companies, die. And it's largely related to scalability. The cost to scale companies like this is extremely great. And then as you expand, there's the overwhelming issue of does service quality decrease? Mm-hmm. Now, we have been super thoughtful in our growth and have not been over eager. Part of that is because the concierge approach almost forces you to be practical. It almost forces you to be, pragmatic rather than getting 100 users on your app and then trying to figure it out. But at the same time, it does really restrict how much jobs you're willing to take. And when you see a rise in, let's say, 1 week, for some reason, 10 of your partners all decided that they had to reschedule appointments they'd already set. That, I don't care what happens. They got a flat, their mom just passed away. You as the homeowner, I'm here to tell you, you're not that nice of a guy. You probably don't care because you've uplifted your life for this 9 to 11 appointment. And so like when I see things like that in the data, our first response is, okay, like what's the real thing happening? Is this a partner service quality issue? Are they a repeat offender? Okay, go talk to them. There's probably one of 3 things actually happen. Number 1, they're probably oversold. It's always oversold. Number 2, there's something they don't like about that customer and they haven't told anybody. That's all. Like they've met him, they know him, they're slow on the quote. And it's like, Dave, he just didn't treat me with respect on site. Great. Really wish you told me that about 4 weeks ago because I'm hounding you for this quote. But now I know, now I can repivot and speak with the customer and say, hey, let's get another provider out here. It's not a good fit, right? And then like the third thing that happens is service quality issues. These are really complex challenges on very old homes, right? The typical average age of the Northeast Dallas home is like 30 to 40 years old. Like that's the young side in Lakewood and Lake Highlands and some of the areas we're in. And so you have these older homes where everybody's looking for the best deal. But at the same time, a lot of these vendors, it's not like they have a history of working with 60-year-old materials. So is their solution the right solution? Does it work? You run into service quality issues. And so across this, right, timing to quote issuance, speed to quote, we call it, get that quote to them quickly. And overall, like the delivery of the services are 3 challenges we face every day.
So as you're building out this network of both homeowners and partners, which is more difficult to attract? Is it tougher to sell the homeowner? Or is it tougher to have quality partners?
The sale of the product itself is very easy to sell to a service provider, right? You tell them, hey, I got like 400 homes in 3 zip codes. And they're like, what do you have? Like, sorry, what? It's like, and all you got to do is serve them well, and I'll keep you there and I'll send you more business and you'll be part of the network. And like for them, it's like a no-brainer. Like, and they're like, oh, are you like, name X competitor? And, some kind of lead gen platform. Like, no, I'm not going to charge you for that. I just want you to serve them well. You serve them well, we're going to be good. Follow by my rules. The problem with that is sourcing quality partners. Quality is a very difficult thing to ascertain before service. So we go through a quality assurance check in the first couple jobs to make sure these guys are legit.
And is that check like you're real? I mean, you're being very intentional, nitpicking, and you're on site. You're walking through, see everything.
Yeah. So how do they talk to customer? What are they wearing? What's the quoting process look like? What's the truck look like? We're just getting a sense. And listen, not to say that an local electrician in a beat up truck isn't one of our best partners. He is. There's like 100 data points we're looking at to confirm or deny entry to the network. Now, in terms of once again, what's harder to get? It's homeowners because it's a product that doesn't exist. And so there's no relationship to it. You buy pest control services, there's 100 options for you. And you're going to buy it because you understand what it is. You know what they do. They spray, bugs die. And then therefore you don't see bugs. But like when I say, hey, you're going to have a concierge for your house, you genuinely don't know how to use it. I still get texts from members who've been on the platform 12 months. They'll say like, hey, do you guys do this? The answer is always yes. Like we did piano tuning in January. So the answer is always yes. We can find a way to get it done. And that's a hard thing to communicate. And then the second thing is, which I think it's super fair, is I'm not going to fix contractors, right? So let's say one of the homeowner partners gets held up or like he's a little late at that appointment, which we hate and we work to fix. But at the end of the day, like it's going to happen. That's what happens. Now we feel like every other home service company. Now, how are you different? So our radical customer service approach, our asking for forgiveness, the apology, the way we make it right is going to be the only differentiator between us and every other home service company they've interacted with. And so communicating those 2 points, really challenging to do in digital marketing specifically. And it's easier when you do order sales, but that's kind of hard to do in 170-degree heat.
For sure. As this entire summer has been. Okay. So yeah, I've got like a million questions. I mean, like, how do you do this? Like, how do you literally like, do you have one concierge to like 100 homes? Do you have how does that physically work?
Yeah, we do capacity restraints. We have a bunch of data that fuels our decision of, hey, how many more partners do we need in this category based on the seasonality of the business? We know that Christmas light season's coming up. you're effectively behind the curve if you're not prepared by October, because a lot of the pre-orders are happening now. So, right, how do we manage that supply chain deeply? And then, we sort of have that on the operations side. We built a custom property management system that connects all of our members and our partners. And so it's all custom built internally to our needs, our own supply chain, right, of how things should fall in the order to give great experiences to both sides, right? To both sides. Many marketplaces make the mistake. They over-index on one side, and then one side doesn't love the other, and so you have a supply-demand issue, right? So we really have to think through those kind of challenges. And then we over-invest in customer success, right? So we have account managers to give the customer a call, how you feeling? We have US-based resourcing to make sure the operations work, to connect with the partners, to ensure they're having good quality. We have project managers who can take a look and say, that's a bad GC job. We need to get a more of an expert in here to solve XYZ problem. So it's super operationally heavy. And a lot of people would simply say, David, this is never going to be profitable. You will never scale this. We've heard it many, many times. My answer to that is the Amazon Prime of homeownership will exist. We just don't know what form it will take. Yep. But we are confident in one thing, that it's going to happen. And our take is we're going to serve the ever-living heck out of both sides. And we are going to be effectively the admin for the local business and the personal assistant for the homeowner. And we will use technology that every day will decrease the cost basis, help us make smarter decisions, help us get better quality service delivery. And we're willing to make that bet because it's going to happen. Somebody's going to win this race. It's the natural next evolution of the service industry, right? Products all have SKUs. Everything has a SKU. Everybody knows what a SKU is. Go to the store, can of beans, there's a barcode. Kitchen remodels don't have SKUs. I'm here to say they should. There's enough data out there that they should.
I love your analogy or the connection. And I'm sure you've said this to people. A lot of people don't realize that when Amazon, the most valuable company in the world, when Amazon went public, it was not profitable. It was losing money.
Losing tons of money. Uber just became profitable a quarter ago, right? And that's the game. I looked at the previous guest in this podcast, right? I like to be super clear. We are not a small business. We are not a mid-sized business. We are not a local business, right? We serve locally, but if you're looking to start a company, don't start with technology. Don't, because my chance of success is so supremely low in comparison to the guy who buys a multifamily complex and serves those tenants really well. Like tech startups and the business that I've chosen to serve in is a really, really high risk, high reward game with a low chance of success. And I have a great deal more respect, frankly, for these local business icons, titans of industry that have conversations about profitability and good margin and not conversations about I have great tech and look at all this growth. So I'm a consultant. I try to bake some of those flavors in, those traditional values into the company. But it's also an acknowledgement that our key to winning is explosive, radical growth with a disruptive product offering. And that's a pretty big risk.
And I like how you're saying that, you're limiting how fast that you're expanding into different markets, right? So as you're talking about that, I'm sitting here thinking, well, how do you break into a new market, right? Do you go after homeowners first? And build a wait list, with the expectation that we're gonna vet out all of the contractors in this area? What's the plan there? How do you break into College Station?
When it comes to entering a market, right, I think that's the secret sauce. My competitors would love to listen, even if they were Texas grads, to Aggie growth hacks to figure out how does David plan to get to Austin, right? Because home service companies traditionally struggle with scaling and tech companies always do, right? So the way I look at it, without revealing too much of the details, you don't really need 1,000 customers on day one. You don't need a giant channel partner. You don't need, in a B2C business where you're looking at consumers, you don't really want all that, right? What you want is 100 super users. And you need to find the simplest path to get to those guys. The simplest by far, where do I find them, right? And you get those super users that are transacting, learning, loving the product. It is so much more valuable than 1,000 people who may not even respect or understand or use your product well, right? So you built this business for 1,000 users, or 700 of them don't actually use your business because you're a service business. It's not like selling Gatorade. And then there's 300 that you're doing a great job with, but you can't do a good job with them because you're dealing with the 700 who are bad users. So we really focus on the idea of manufacturing super users. You don't want 1,000 bad customers. You want 100 monsters that you love to serve, and they love that you are serving them.
So who are your super users?
We love homeowners' kids. And maybe that's because I'm a homeowner with 2 kids under 2, and it genuinely sucks. So like,
this is real people.
Yeah, like,
Yes.
we like real people, right? We do really well with real people. We do really well with professionals, right? Dual income families, people who are in mid or upper management because they're used to having a staff, and we become that staff for the home. So, our sweet spot is easily aged 30 to 50 with a couple kids, but our demographics are all over the board. My first customer is 96 years old, 97 as of last week. And, she's had a few broken pipes, and we fixed every single one of them.
So, David, this episode is going to drop towards the end of the year. So as you're growing, I mean, you're in a very fast growth, not only from the front of the house, but from the back of the house side. What are some things that are coming up in the next 6 months, next year that we can really look to Homer to be, okay, this is exciting. This is the next evolution forward.
Yeah, I think we're going to bring 3 things to the market that have truly never been brought, and we're really excited about it. So as much as I joke that we're still a tech service, right, we are going to convert this service company into a technology company. And that technology company is going to have an app for our homeowners and the local businesses on our platform. And this is going to help them. I'm not adding a bunch of junk or tech to their lives they don't need. I'm going to help them manage their requests better. Homeowners are going to be able to see everything and the status of where their lives are, right? And local businesses are going to be able to respond quicker to requests and understand who they're serving and the scope in which they're serving. So they'll be able to quote faster, right? We build technology for real problems that actually exist. And we know when you have too many requests, that's a problem for a homeowner, and you don't know where to go and you're searching. Mm-hmm. So that's a pain. We know searching through an email is no fun. So we're going to fix that part. And on the partner side, when should I send that quote? Am I behind? Did I get to that yet? And when am I supposed to show up? That happens. So we're going to solve that too. So we're really excited about launching, this home management platform for our homeowners, and then this, service business platform to manage all of their requests coming from home or at a local level. That's number one. We're really excited about that. The second thing that we're really excited about is this knowledge platform we've created, where we are producing a lot of content. So we're starting to share all of our data for homeowners and for local businesses to make better decisions. Hey, what does a good roof even look like? How do you know that you need new siding? Right? We have so much data at this point. The second thing we're really excited about is sharing. Hey, I got 10,000 services complete this year. I might know something, maybe not all of it, that we can share with each side here. Mm-hmm. And so you guys will see our website really start powering up, and a lot of social media channels sharing content we hope is used for homeowners and local businesses to make decisions. Third thing we're pumped about is we're going to go take other markets. It's time, right? It's time to bring this product and invite people to do homeownership a different way.
Love it. Absolutely love that. And that brings us right to the big question here, right? We talk about this on every single one of the Aggie Growth Hack, episodes, and it's, what is your big, hairy, audacious goal, right? What is your 5 to 10 year moonshot? Where do you want to be as a visionary of your company in 5 to 10 years?
The home service industry is an emotional game. With you're serving people in the place they call home. Commercial construction's easier because nobody's in love with a warehouse. They have children in these homes. They mark the wall on how tall they are. Like, that's my customer. And what I would love, for our tombstone to read, right, as and like the business will never die, but the final note is that thousands upon thousands of local businesses not only grew on Homer, but were started on Homer. Mm-hmm. That they came to Homer to build a landscaping company, that they came to Homer to find a way to serve people in the way that Chick-fil-A and USAA and EY serve and solve problems. And these great companies, great painters, these great remodelers can use our platform to start companies and drive local and state economies, right? Like, we are starting on the demand side because that's where the pain is, but we only win if our partners remain high quality and better after they met us. And with that, right? With that, we believe that on the homeowners, what we give you is something you've never had, which is the Carfax for your house. Where now,
that'd be pretty cool.
Because you work with great people and you know more about your home and you know what to take care of, you have a digital scorecard that tells you when to clean those gutters. And the reason you love doing it so much is that major insurance companies decrease their premium for you because now we know you've been a good homeowner and you get a reward. There isn't a way to know if we are good at taking care of our assets. And even if we thought we would, no one's giving us a reward for doing so. But I'm pretty confident that giant insurance companies, because I've spoken with many of them, would really love it if homeowners checked their roof more often, because it would save them a lot of money on that giant water leak. And I think HOMR has a path, if we build enough awesome companies, to give homeowners that opportunity to improve their asset and ultimately improve their lives.
David, what a goal. I love that. And I love how that is, it's very audacious in not only its scope, but its breadth, who you're going to reach, the impact and how deep that's going to be. So I cannot wait to see HOMR as it grows and it expands and not only into College Station, but across the nation, across the world. So thank you for sharing that with us. We're going to pause right now. We're going to roll into our lightning round. One simple rule: answer each question 30 seconds or less. What is your favorite personal hack, book, podcast, whatever?
Oh, I think The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni is a must read. Absolute must read. Super simple, great to understand. You will find very quickly your blind spots and can build from there.
Love it. All right. So next question. What is your favorite business hack, book, podcast, whatever?
Man, I read a lot. I find that LinkedIn and Twitter have become inspirational access to brilliant people I respect. If you spend time cultivating your social media in a way that it feeds your goals and your ambitions, I think you get a really good experience and a lot less noise. And so I've really spent time focusing on who do I want to be listening to, who do I want to be reading, and treat that almost like as a digital mentorship network, right? And that's been interesting.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good. What's the best bit of advice you've been given and how have you applied it?
Fail fast. Fail fast. That's easily just fail fast. More than likely, your first solution is not the right answer. And as a result, we've taken that to be a cultural norm at HOMR to be in love with the problem and have no ego about your solution. Change everything if you don't think it's working and just remain in love with the problem. That's really driven everything we do.
Love it. David, how can the Aggie Growth Hacks family get in touch with you, and how can we support you and encourage you moving forward?
Well, we are always reachable at david@homer.io. And although I will not be giving out my personal cell phone number on the line this time, learn my lesson. But if you email me, you'll probably get it. And so david@homer.io, the ways the Aggie Network can help, right? Number one, hey, if you're interested in the problem we're solving, email me. We're always hiring. We're always looking for partners, whether it's consulting or other things. But if you have a specific lens into this problem and you're like, I want to solve it and I want to solve it this way, I am pretty easy to email and I will hire you. That's what I look for. People who are obsessed with the problem. It's a lot of work. And I think the second thing the Aggie Network can really do is, support local businesses, whether it's mine or not, right? Just support Aggie businesses, support local businesses. It changes a business's trajectory, like by a simple reposting of something they've said. It's alarming how much money we spend on producing content and how little is shared, and then how much of an impact it is. So if you're an Aggie or you're a member of your community, just share and repost some stuff. It doesn't mean that you're like, the acolyte. It just means that you're supporting them.
David, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your outlook, your passion, your creativity to make a market that didn't, or to service a market that no one even realized they needed servicing. We really appreciate you. Excited to see what you and your team are going to do. Thanks for joining us on Aggie Growth Hacks.
Cheers. Gig 'em.
Well, how about that, Ags? Was that pretty cool or what? I know that I had a lot of takeaways from that. I wrote down a whole page of notes from everything that he was talking about. What was your biggest takeaway there, Greg?
Well, one of the things that we've heard from a couple entrepreneurs, and I guess a lot of entrepreneurs serve more than one customer. And he's very open how he has to balance not only serving his members, the homeowners that are actually doing that they're being the concierge for, but also he has to also serve his partners, the vendors, to be able to have that dynamic. And most of the time those things align, but wherever there's friction, HOMR is literally right in the middle of that. And so he is building a company that has to be aware of both ends of the spectrum of who they serve, and to be able to say, okay, we're going to support and we're going to help everyone, because it is by the members having the best experience ever that they're going to be successful. And it's by having the partners have the best experience ever and get repeated business. It's a self-policing cycle that really makes it very contagious to be able to have everyone's needs and desires and wants aligned. And to be able to do that at scale, I mean, I'm super excited. We didn't nerd out too much on the technology side of it, but I can't wait to see his app roll out. I can't wait to see the website to really kind of start clicking and feeling. And I can't wait for it to actually show up in College Station. We've heard a couple entrepreneurs talk about that, but he just quantified it in such a really unique way. I loved it. What about you?
I guess my biggest takeaway really is that when we got to the BHAG, when we got talking about, where his vision is for the company and where he wants to be, his big, hairy, audacious goal, he talked about things that weren't related to company growth or to money, which is typical of when you talk to entrepreneurs and they say, where do you want to be in 5 to 10 years? Well, I don't know, $10 million or 20 million or whatever that it is, right? And he didn't talk about that at all, right? He talked about how he wants to affect lives, because that's essentially what he's doing. He's helping both the homeowners and the home service professionals, right? And he knows that he can help both sides, but he's really, at the end of the day, really helping to grow those businesses, right? For home services and really helping them get better and be better, right? Because it's holding them accountable, right? And they can't show up with plumber's crack and show up 10 days late for something or not give you a quote for 30 days or something like that. He's holding them accountable. So it's making them better, making their businesses better. Really, when it came down to it, it wasn't about money or company growth. It was all about how he wants to affect lives. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I agree 100%. And whether you're like it or love it or don't like it, Amazon has infected and impacted billions of lives.
Yeah.
And for him to be able to say, I want to be able to do that same thing from a homeowner's perspective. Again, seriously, David, you need to hurry up and get down to College Station, because I'm like the most around the house type guy there is. So I'm definitely going to sign up and I will be a client.
Absolutely. Same here.
Well, Alex, that's going to do it for this amazing episode of Aggie Growth Hacks. We hope that you enjoyed it. We hope that you laughed with us along with David. If you're not connected with him, make sure that you connect with him. And if you're not connected with Aggie Growth Hacks, come on. Connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, wherever we are. Make sure that you give a big gig-em thumbs up on this episode on whatever podcast app you're listening to. And we would appreciate if you just give us a review and share it so that we can tell more ags about these amazing entrepreneurs.
We want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M University. Since 1999, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship has served as the hub of entrepreneurship for Texas A&M. If you're an Aggie entrepreneur or even a wantrepreneur, head over to their website to find a program that's right for you. Just go to aggiegrowthhacks.com/McFerrin. Well, Ags, join us next time when we connect with another great Aggie entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter.
And I'm Greg Martin. Thanks and gig 'em.
Whoop!